G'day ladies and gentlemen, Sam Battlefields here. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey through the constraints-led approach for BJJ. I had a really good morning this morning. We were working through leg locks, so I think part of the reason why it was such a good session is we actually planned. So Aaron and I had planned out the week when we got together. This week's really gone quick for me. I think part of it was because I took yesterday off in order to kind of recover from having the late night podcast with Scott Seavright from the Primal MMA. That either is coming out before or after this video. If it's after, stick around. It's a really good combo. I really got a lot out of it. But yeah, essentially we sort of planned out a little bit about what we're going to do this week, and so initially we kind of did some attacks. Well, it was control, so I really wanted to focus on the control aspect of leg locks, but also give people the confidence in defending that if they have certain elements to stop the control, then they have more time so that they don't freak out. And one of the issues that often arises with leg locks is people who aren't accustomed to them. As soon as someone starts messing with their legs and get them in any type of leg entanglement, they freak out and start trying to get rid of the entanglement. And in some cases, if the person has decent control, they do it the wrong way and twist out and injure themselves. So what I wanted to show is that you can slow down a submission, so you can stop them from implementing a submission straight away. And then there's certain things you can do to defend yourself. So we spoke about the task being get your knee past below the thigh line, get it out of the knee line, and those two things, or put your weight on the foot. All of these were available to us throughout the week, and we sort of showed had some good games, particularly around single and double lashy. And one of the things we started with today was, again, like always, we started with a stand up game, and even though I've sort of given a little shit to Kip Dale, his fast-paced games, I used one of his games today from that stand-up section. So in my defence, it is from the section that I actually praised, and I want to I can be a bit loose with my tongue. I want to say that I'm not giving him shit. I was looking at it through the CLA lens rather than necessarily sort of anyway, don't worry about that. With my chat with Scott Seavright Wednesday night, I realised that I can say certain things that there's it comes off the tongue, but it's like it's not like I don't agree with what I'm saying. I definitely agree with what I'm saying, but there's nuance to it. But because I'm used to talking in these sort of matter of fact, the nuance doesn't come through, even though I have thought about it. So, for example, in that chat with Scott, I talked about how I went to the John Danaher seminar, but also a couple of other seminars, and almost hyperbolically, I said I get nothing out of them. And again, obviously, I get something out of talking with the best coach in the world, or one of the best coaches in the world. I'm speaking somewhat hyperbolically, but ultimately, what I was trying to say is I didn't remember. I don't even remember the sequence that he taught. Do you know what I mean? And I wrote it down. So it's kind of like, did I get something from that? Or if we, got shown something and then played with it, would I have got more out of that, potentially? So anyway, I'm kind of trying to justify myself a little bit, because Scott said something which was like, you're going to potentially look back on some of the stuff you said and you're going to cringe. And I was like, shit, what have I said? And what is he looking at that I've said that I'm going to cringe? And then so I just started looking, trying to review what I've been saying. And I was like, fuck yeah, okay, I get that. I'm not trying to be, abrasive. I'm not trying to be aggressive, and I'm not trying to give shit to anyone. These guys are far and beyond what I could ever hope to be in regards to a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and I give them super props. Obviously, Kip Dale, right at the forefront of jiu-jitsu a few years back, particularly Australian jiu-jitsu, and putting that on the map. All props to him. Most props to him. I don't want to give him too many props because of what he did to my coach, but anyway, long story short, I talk a little bit hyperbolically, but just know that there's reasonings behind it, and I like to clarify that. And part of anyway. Had this session today. We did the takedown using one of the sort of the constrained takedown parts, which is just essentially you start in the double leg and you try and get out it. So the person tries to take it down, or the person on top gets out of it. So it was gold. I think it's a great little thing to implement. Now we went straight into just doing the leg lock drill that I've spoken about before. And because I had a couple of guys that are fairly new to it, we just did the first four. So it was single ashy, double ashy, game over, and cross ashy, saddle, honey hole, whatever you fucking want to call it. I call it cross ashy. I'm going to call it cross ashy. Anyway. The control, I noticed that people were being really, really loose, or the guys the couple of white belts that I was with were really, really loose on this cross ashy. So, but I also realised that it's one of the most stacked in, other than game over, it's kind of the most stacked in one person's favour of all the leg locks. And it also is kind of, if you get one leg, if the person defending gets one leg away, then there's obviously still one in the mix that can be attacked, and all the attacks are available. So your heel hooks or your straight ankle locks, they're all available in front of the person who's got the legs. So I was like, well, let's work from there. And so rather than look and this was the first time I didn't take my little book in, and I hadn't technically planned it out, although the plan was initially just to build on the single ashy, double ashy game that we've been playing, where where one person was just holding onto it and the other person was getting out. Now the goal was going to be either side could sort of get that control first, and so whoever got that first was the winner as such. So, but I put that aside when I realised that actually cross-ashi is, it's the most, well, a good example of complexity is Will had said to Aaron, I can't really see what you can attack here, and then Aaron demonstrated, I can get this heel hook, this heel hook, this heel hook, this straight ankle, this straight ankle, and Will sort of said, so you can attack virtually everything. And I thought, in context, it was a funny little insight. But yeah, so we started the game. I realised that, and the control part was a big thing. But the insights that the guys got, it was awesome. Like it was really good. Really trying to figure out stuff. I figured out some cool stuff myself with how I operate. With people who are like really controlled on things and doing certain things, and it solidified my understanding of dropping your knee below their thigh line, like, or if they're height, like if your knee is close to their thigh line, then you're actually in a much better position. Whereas if they are much deeper, then you're in a lot more trouble. And I thought, there was a couple of things where it was not necessarily light bulb moments, not like but it was like, oh, that's cool. Like the concepts that I've been talking about are are really evident here, and you don't need to freak out. The best thing I think about these drills / games is because you're working on control rather than going for some sort of a submission. Is that there isn't the freak out like, oh, I've got to get this done. So you're working on things that are actually going to work for you, and then obviously you have to speed them up as submissions are introduced. But you're in that role. You're in that position. You're understanding what's required before getting freaked out that you're going to get your leg taken off. And everyone said afterwards, they were very happy. And look, I'm not shitting on anyone here, but a couple of the guys were like, one of the guys, Paul, he was like, I came to yesterday's lesson, and it was great. Like I got the step by steps, but in this lesson I felt like I learnt a lot more, and that was great because up until recently I sort of see the way Paul's sort of spoken about a few things is it sounds like he wants direction, and I mean that's fine. Like, but I'm trying to instill in them that you need to the best way to learn is not necessarily being told what you need to do. The best way to learn is feeling what your body is feeling and then acting upon that. So yeah, perception, action, coupling. It's just how do you explain that to someone who potentially looks at me using sort of more academic style language and goes, you're not an academic, shut the fuck up, But it was awesome that that he said that, and Will said, I like your classes. Essentially, he said, I like the way you teach you design practice. Essentially, like he didn't say it that way, but he's like, I get more out of your way of doing things than I do out of any other way, and that's awesome, man. Like I fucking love that. It's such a fucking good feeling, Like whereas before I felt like I was sort of teaching stuff, and then I was like, almost requesting that people give me feedback. Like, did everyone get something out of this? Did you get something out of today? And like, and people would be like, yeah, sure, man. Like, and I'll be like, did you? Whereas now, I'm getting something out of the day, and I'm the one fucking designing the practice. So if I'm getting something out of it, then I'm able to verbalise the insights and that sort of thing, and bring people's attention to the areas that are most important. They have to be getting more out of it than if I just sat there and proselytised the advantages of being me and how I implement my game on someone. Now I'm working out the holes in my game and going, oh, this actually has carryover or like a universal kind of underlying, not necessarily technique, but concept that you can use in other forms of things. Like a good example of that is, we were rolling at the end, and he's like, the confidence that he had to get into a leg entanglement was just, he jumped into it. He jumped into it like attacking me, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And like my confidence in, okay, well, you've got this, but I can feel you're not tight here, and like there's no conscious mind with this, but it was like, yep, I can do it, and now I've got you in a double ashi, and then he turned the wrong way. So, and I was able to not only sort of provide some insight, but I stopped the roll because he turned the wrong way. And although it was on him that he turned the wrong way, I thought it was a really good teaching moment because the shearing pressure that he basically turned into his own game over, right? And so I stopped him and I said, hey, look, there's a couple of factors here. And even while I was some of the concepts like, well, if you're able to get something on top of them, and it stops them from being able. I'm getting too into like a specific moment in time. Don't worry about that. Essentially, though, I was able to identify a conceptual piece of the puzzle and then relay it to him in a very specific scenario that has universal undertones anyway. And because we were in that position and we'd been sort of fighting for that, he recognised straight away. It's like, yep, all right, I see it. Like I was like, look, if you're in white belt, you probably win from DQ, but you also blow out you blow out your own knee at the same time. Not something we want to do, but alternatively, if I stop him there, show him what the issue is, so he doesn't blow out his knee. That was gold as well. So yeah, really happy with this week's leg lock fortnight. I think we'll continually do leg lock fortnight rather than unconventional guards fortnight. And I'm going to write a little bit about today, but plan-wise, this one was probably, because I literally didn't even have my book with me, so I wasn't even kind of thinking about it. It was literally just an evolution of the actual lesson that occurred. So it was awesome. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. If you've got any questions, stick them down in that little area down below, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.